Hey everyone. This week we are chatting with Elaine Perna from Perna Studios, a trading card company consisting of two people who are both artists. Welcome, Elaine. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you, Ingrid? Hi, Lindsay.
Hi, Elaine. Um, I'm so excited to talk to Elaine today. I'm really curious how you came up with the idea for Perna Studios and what originally set you down that track, and also tell us a bit about why that kind of artwork. Do you have a special love for fantasy art and illustrative stories?
It's a really kind of a boring story, but at the time Tony was an incentive artist on a Rittenhouse card set, and it was the first time that he was getting back a bunch of artist proofs. So he was getting back, I think, 10 artist proofs to sell, and because usually it's like one or two, and his his idea was to commission them all out and then pay off her credit card. But then I was like, do you want to do that and then just have a few hundred extra dollars left over? Or how about the idea of let's let our credit card sit a little bit longer and maybe invest that money into a business? And he goes, well, what do you have? I was like, well, there's other people doing independent card sets because I think there were Sad Littles at the time. And I said, well, we know a lot of artists. Maybe we would be able to do a small card set. And we just have to figure out a good theme. And then we figured that mythology was like public domain. It was known around the world. So we said, let's go with something like that. So that's how it all pretty much started. So we continue to keep our debt in order to make a business. And it worked out really well. I mean, we knew a lot of artists from the Scoundrel Forum. And so we had, I think our first it was only 50 artists. So we had like 50 artists that helped us create this amazing set. And it just started from there. And the other hardest thing about the business was trying to come up with themes that were public domain that we didn't have to pay a license for. But we just started coming up with like magic, let's do spellcasters.
I always love your themes. They're
and, and,
always
and
fun.
Halloween. I'm a huge fan of the holiday Halloween. So I was like, let's do a Halloween set.
The themes you've picked have, like Lindsay said, they were always so much fun to work on and different from doing the movies and TV and all that stuff. And
Yeah, it was really fun, really challenging, but really fun. And it was something that Tony and I really loved. He loves the Norse mythology. I love the Egyptian and the Greek, especially Medusa. I'm like, everybody draw Medusa. I will buy them. I had to track down a lot of cards in the aftermarket.
so you guys,
Um,
please go ahead, Lindsay.
Sorry, I was just going to say you do around 4 sets a year, don't you?
2 sets a year. So usually we
Oh,
do
2 sets a
one
year.
for the spring and then a Halloween set.
Right, okay.
So
I
how
mean, that's
many? That's okay. That's quite all right. How many sets have you done in total since you started now?
Oh my goodness.
About a ballpark.
I think about 17. I think we're on 17 right now.
So you are very well established. You've got a solid footing in the trading card, and for your company, what's kind of unique is that it's like it's solely based on art.
Yeah.
You're not using movie stills or anything. It's all based on art that the two of you have created, a whole bunch of artists have created. So it's really these are all 17 creative sets that you have put out, and it makes Perna Studios really unique in the trading card industry for that.
Yeah. Our goal was to definitely have original art commissioned for the base cards, the promo cards, the sketch cards. A lot of these ones from movie sets and comics, they kind of like regurgitate art. They'll take an image from a comic and use it on like a card set, or like a screen capture from a movie or something, but we wanted everything original. We wanted just to have every single image is something new that hasn't been seen yet. And the artists do an amazing job. They do an amazing job.
There are some amazing artists, isn't there? Freddie, he just blows me away every time. Crazy.
His paintings are amazing too. I love Ingrid's paintings too. I only have one piece of Ingrid, so
beautiful.
But what's cool is that the two of you also create art for your sets. That's another unusual thing. You have the company, you've created a really unique concept, plus you also create art for the set yourselves, including yourself, Elaine, which you don't always talk about, the fact that you are also an artist too.
I love drawing, but I can't draw as much as I would like any longer because I have a couple of medical problems. So I have like ulcerative colitis, which means I have like ulcers in my colon. So I can't sit for more than 20 minutes. So it makes drawing hard. So so I used to draw in bed laying down, but then my arms couldn't support the weight of laying down anymore. So I would love to draw a lot more, but I just physically can't anymore. But I do try to draw in every card set because I don't want to ask an artist to draw for the card set if I'm not willing to do it as well. You know, the same thing with Tony. We're not going to ask artists to do these things that we aren't willing to do. So it's always, you know, you have to do the same thing as well. And it's really fun. We enjoy it. It's topics that we love.
The artist as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is. I kind of go blind after a while. I have to color. I have to color with this now.
Yeah.
I have a light up magnifying glass that I hold. While I'm coloring markers with one hand, I have a light up magnifying glass in the other.
I don't have that magnifying glass, but I do have dollar store glasses to see really, really close because I just can't see that small anymore.
Yeah, sometimes they work too, the bifocals, because you can get the ones where they almost have like magnifying lenses.
Makes me seasick when it's.
I'm gonna have to try all these tricks. You can get so many tricks.
Tony has had to change his prescriptions on his glasses many times. Drawing as long as he has, and he draws such tiny detailed backgrounds. His eyesight's going as well.
So it's a common complaint that we're hearing, and now that we've done a few of these interviews and stuff, I think nearly everybody, well, except for people who don't do the drawing parts, but everybody who draws and sketch cards are all after a few years saying, you know, I can't quite see like I used to and all that. Totally. So it's kind of like a job. How do you call it? When you have a risk in a job, it's yeah. So that's one of those things for all those people who are listening and thinking, oh, I want to spend the rest of my life doing sketch cards. Maybe not.
Down the line, they'll lose their eyesight. They might get arthritis in their hands from drawing all the time and everything too. Tony also has that as well. So yeah, you wind up with a few medical problems. You might wind up with like a stiff bad back, or at the very least gaining weight because you're sitting there drawing all day. You're not walking or exercising or doing anything.
And a hunchback.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which I do all the time, like after
as well. You know, when you're leaning on the table, get all
the
bruises.
That's like the mouse thing for people who are on a computer all the time and they get the little mouse.
They'll get like that kind of callus type thing. Yeah. I used to get really, really bad elbows when I had to draw on my bed. And I don't know, I think Tony had taken a photo of me drawing one time. And I lay on my left side, propped up by the one arm. I had this little notebook and my little sketch card on a notebook, markers everywhere on the bed. And then after a while, I just couldn't keep the weight on my arm anymore. But
that's really hard.
It's just really tough for me to draw.
That's devastating.
So what is the hardest part of what you do now? Because seeing as you work as an artist, even though you have, I understand you have trouble, but working as an artist and also being part of a team running a company, what's the hardest part of having all that in your basket that you have to do?
Uh, the hardest part is it's pretty much just juggling everything and timing. Hiring artists, it's always hard because sometimes you'll have artists that, usually jump on your sets, but they might also be working on a bunch of other card projects because there's a lot of card companies now. And, hardest part might be, pretty much hearing that kind of rejecting email, like, I'm sorry, I wish I can work on your set, but I can't. And, and I fully understand because I can't jump on 20 sets a year or anything like that either. But that's really hard sometimes getting the amount of artists that we want so we can have a really nice quality set in a variety of styles. Um, Sometimes sitting there for like weeks sorting through cards. So when we get all the base cards and the promo cards printed and they get sent to us, I got about 15,000 cards that I have to sort through one by one to make sure there's no ding corners. There's no manufacturer defects on the front or back because sometimes you get press lines or indentations. And so I'll be sitting there for like a couple of weeks just sorting cards, just going through every single base card and chase card. So it's time consuming, but it's worth it. It really is worth it.
If you want to put out a perfect product without any, you want your customers to be happy, don't you? So
oh yeah, we don't want somebody saying they got a damaged card or something like that because to us that's a bad quality product, and then you would have to get duplicates and spending money to ship them out and everything. But if you can kind of nip the problem in the butt ahead of time, then you won't have those problems later.
These are things I guess you learn as you grow as a company, which you must have learned a lot in your first few sets.
The first few sets was trial and error. I mean, we made some mistakes. We didn't make enough of a product with such big demands. When we first started off, we were letting people buy 40 sets and stuff like that, but we didn't know we were going to have as much as a demand for the product as we wanted to. So some people were really upset that they couldn't even buy 2 or 3 sets because somebody was buying a lot because we were selling to card dealers. So we had to come up with the idea of a minimum. So it depends on how many cards. If we're doing like 750 sets or 800, the minimum might be 8 now. The maximum. So that's the maximum they can order is 8. If we're doing close to 1,000 sets, we can let people buy 12, but we don't let people buy in mass quantities. I mean, I have somebody that wants to buy 100 sets or 200. I'm like, we can't do that because a lot of other people will be very angry that they couldn't get in on the pre-sale. So we have to try to make as many people happy as possible and try to put in as many orders as possible, not just selling them all to 1 or 2 dealers, because we don't want them to, mark up the prices, and collectors are very angry that they could have gotten a set for $35, but now somebody wants $200 or $300 for a certain card they were looking for.
Has the pandemic affected your business at all?
No, not really. Because when all the stores and everything were locked down, the internet shopping got really busy. People just started buying online. They were like, well, if I can go to a store or a convention or mall or whatever to go shopping, people just started shopping online. So we started getting more and more people. And I think that's when we started getting a lot of new orders from China in the last 2 years. I mean, we would start off with maybe 3 or 4 buyers, and then they would tell their friends. And then we had like 12 buyers. And then this year we had over 100 orders from China. And we couldn't even, I think we could only fulfill about 20 or 25 of them. We had never had to turn away 75 people before, but this year we got hit really hard with the orders, and we had about 200 less sketch cards than we sent out as well. So those 200 sketch cards could have helped. I could have offered a lot of those people 2 or 3 sets each, but it's hard when you don't get the number of sketch cards back that you need.
Is working with artists a big problem?
Not all the time. I mean, sometimes you might send somebody 10 cards and give them you give them like anywhere from 2 to 4 months to do them, and they might just turn back 2 or 3 finished cards. And I've sent people 20 sketch cards before because we always ask them if you can do 10, 15, or 20. And some people will say, sure, I'll do 20, but then they'll send you an email a week before the deadline saying, I can't do these. Something has come up in my life or another card project I'm working on. And when you lose 20 cards here and 10 cards here and 5 here, and it just adds up. And next thing you know, it's 200 cards, which is a lot of customers that we can't fulfill orders for. So that's one of the tough things with the card business is just trying to.
Well, if you're looking, how should artists apply to you if you're looking for new artists?
We always tell artists they can contact us on Facebook. We're always on Facebook. We have an email at pernastudios@gmail.com. People can always submit samples there as well. I mean, we're always looking for new artists. We're always, looking for something that catches our eye, a new style we haven't seen. And I mean, we get a lot of artists that apply, and sometimes we've had to turn away a few artists because their style wasn't quite what we wanted, or maybe they had just started drawing in the industry and their art isn't as polished as it would be with a couple more years of experience drawing. And so it's tough when you have to turn down an artist, and we do it as politely as we possibly can. But yeah, it's always, there's always something in this industry that is going to be a tough call, but we just try to do it as fair as we can.
How is it working as a team? Like it would surely be overwhelming to do this as either just Tony or just you. So it must be, do you manage well to work as a team as a company?
Oh yeah. I mean, Tony and I, we have to do this together. It's hard to do a card set just by yourself. So usually I handle hiring most of the artists, even though I sign all the emails, Tony Perna. It's pretty much me. I send them all out. I put up all the showcases. Tony puts together all the images for printed art because I'm not good with Photoshop. He puts together all the showcase images for me. I scan the images. I'll put them in a folder. I'll say, okay, there's 3 sketch cards by Lindsey Greyling in this folder. Tony, can you put them in a showcase for me? And he'll put them on the showcase, and then I upload them up to our websites. And usually I handle the pre-sales as well, because I know the people that buy from us usually. And I kind of know where, there's certain people or certain card dealers that I have to contact ahead of time and tell them, don't forget our pre-sale is this day. So they don't, forget, because then later we usually sell out pretty instantly, and they'll be very upset, like, oh, I didn't know your card sets were on sale today. So I have to email a good 50 people ahead of time and tell them, don't forget our pre-sales this day, get your emails in right away. Because we actually go by the email time. So at 1 o'clock, we usually have our pre-sales. And I've screen captured a few times, like all the emails say 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock. And if somebody's email comes in at 1:01, we have to take all the 1 o'clocks first. So if somebody email comes in 1 minute late, they may be on a waiting list. They may not get in, or I may have to allocate the orders. If they want 8 sets, I might have to say all the spots for 8 sets are gone. We can offer you 4. And so is your plan to stay small, or are you going to expand? We would love to expand, but the hardest part is getting more quality sketch cards. I know a lot of companies, and I'm not going to talk bad or anything, but they might hire as many artists as they possibly can to fill in the numbers of how many sets they could sell. But I don't want somebody saying, well, I pulled this artist and and I only got $10 for the sketch card on eBay. And I don't want to have to hire quantity over quality. So we would love to expand, but it's only if we can continue to have high quality, and it's difficult sometimes. I mean, it's really difficult.
What's the ratio of sketch cards to printed cards that you'd have in a pack then?
How many will we have?
One set from you, how many sketch cards do they get with that one set?
So usually with a one set, we usually sell it in 2 different formats. We'll sell it as packs. So we'll do, if we're doing 1,000 card sets, we'll do like 750 or 800 packs. And in a pack, they'll get 5 of the 20 base cards. Usually it's 20 base cards. And they'll get a sketch card guaranteed. And they'll get 1 of the chase cards. Usually it's, recently it's the pearl finish chase cards, or it used to be the frosted clear chase cards or spot foil chase cards. So they'll get 5 base cards, a chase card, and a sketch card guaranteed. But there's also chances of pulling metal chase cards, metal sketch cards, and there's always, we used to do redemption cards as well for like a very limited edition metal card where it's only 20 made, which is pretty good. People would just mail that in to us, and then we would just ship them whatever item was for that redemption card.
What's your favorite extra? I'm sorry. What's your favorite?
My favorite extra. I really love the metal sketch cards because you're getting an extra sketch on top of a regular sketch. So you're getting 2 pieces of art. The backing is really cool because, they're shiny, they last forever. I really do love the metal sketch cards, but I also really liked the frosted clear cards because when you put them on a sheet of white paper, the colors just really, really popped. But it's hard to tell because I kind of like them all, the spot foils, everything. It's hard to say, but the metal sketch cards I love.
Is that the spot foils? I think you sent me some cards, and there were some limited ones in there with a metallic print. Yes. Is that the spot foil cards?
Yeah, those were the spot foil cards. Like
so lovely.
An artist would send us the base art, and Tony, because Tony's job is to put together all the printed cards, he would have to actually go in with like a lasso tool and highlight the areas that he would want it to be foil. And when you send it to the company, so this way, some of the card is printed normal, but then certain sections are like a metallic foil, and so they would really pop. And it was a nice effect. We really enjoyed those ones too. But they were hard because they used to take Tony about a day to do each one.
Oh my gosh!
Who designs the backs of your cards? Because they're always really pretty, aren't they?
Yeah, Tony handles all the designs of all the cards for printing. So that's him. That's him just sitting there for days on Photoshop, starting off with a blank screen and then just finding what kind of templates do we want for the backgrounds. For the mythology sets, we really like the parchment color because it kind of, goes along with the mythology theme, or like stone or something like that. For spellcasters, he decided to make the back of the base cards look like the front of a book. So you have the book, you have the spine. I think he added the metal locks onto them to make it actually kind of look like a spell book. So that's all Tony coming up with all these ideas for the backs of the cards.
That was a question I wanted to ask. Do you guys ever lack for ideas, or do you have a whole list of ideas that you want to go through, or are you just expanding what you have?
We do start lacking. Sometimes we'll kind of almost be like, well, if we can't figure out what to do again, my answer to everything is parchment. Just make it parchment. And Tony's like, no, I want it to be a little fancier. I want to put this cool looking eye here, or these symbols, so Tony will start drawing symbols, and he'll do like black silhouette symbols, and he'll scan them, and then he'll start adding them into the back of the card. So like fade them out, or add them here, or add them there. So me, I'm not really creative with that. My whole idea is just like parchment. And so he's like, no, I want something fancier. So he's very creative. Me, not so much in that aspect. So, so yeah, when I run out of ideas, I just say parchment, and he he says, no, I'm going to think of something. So,
Do you have any plans for the future that you can talk about?
we do. I don't know how much I can say right now, but
Sort
we're
of.
working with another artist, teaming up with another artist this year. He had an amazing idea for a trading card set, and he's a very well-known artist. He's been in the industry probably about 20 years drawing sketch cards. So we're kind of, helping him out with his first set, but we're also going to make it's a collaboration between Perna Studios and another company. I think Lindsay knows about it because she is on the set. I think she's on the set. Hold on. I have to look at my list.
Lindsay is looking a little clueless right now for those.
You are on the set. I'm looking at it right now.
I've sketched them out already. I'm just getting around to starting to colour. Yes. I was like,
but we're trying to branch out. We're trying to come up with new ideas, and sometimes working with another artist and doing collaboration sets is sometimes it's amazing. Like you come up with such really cool ideas, and it's
Is it the first time you will collaborate?
I'm sorry?
Is it the first time that you're going to collaborate?
Yes, with another artist on a card set. Yeah, it is our first time collaborating.
So it'll be a new experience, and you'll see if you like it, how it goes. And I can't wait to see this.
And next year, because this is our 10th year anniversary for Perna Studios. So we decided to, that's why we're working with another card artist, another company. We kind of want to do something different this year, but also Tony is going to take some time off next year from doing, from working on other card sets like Upper Deck sets or other independent sets, because he finally wants to do his Project M comic. And he introduced his characters several years ago on the Seven Revelation set by Sketchlords. And everybody's been asking him, when are you gonna, do a comic, do something more with your characters? And he wanted to, but doing all these card sets every year and working for other card companies does not leave any time. So this year he's going to take a few months off. He's going to pencil and ink his comic. We are hoping to have a Kickstarter for it, where we will have different tiers, like he'll have hand-drawn sketch cards with him, maybe some metal cards. We were hoping to eventually do a Project M card set based on his characters.
That would be awesome.
So that might be something we might do next year. It might be like a mini release. We might only do around 500 sets, which is pretty much half of what we normally do. So just to kind of test it out and everything. But it all depends on when Tony can get the first comic out so people can be introduced to these characters a bit more, and then we can hopefully work on a card set for his characters as well.
That sounds fabulous. Actually,
there's a lot in store for the next couple of years for us.
And when is your card set about rocks going to come out?
Oh. I would love to have a card set based on rocks or turtles, but I think it would just be really boring for everybody else.
Little rock characters for every different kind of rock.
I would love that, because there's like hundreds of different kind of rocks. We can have like a little character for like Zebra Jasper, or a little character for Ruby, but yeah, it might be too boring for people. They may not be interested.
That's right.
For those who are listening who are not aware, Elaine has one of the most extensive rock collections probably in the known universe.
Not that many, but yeah, I probably have a couple thousand rocks and crystals.
And if you want to see rocks as characters, leave a comment and ignore Tony.
Well, I actually like Lindsay's idea of rock characters for different kind of stones. I actually really like it.
Of course you do.
Maybe it's something that me and Lindsay can kind of collaborate on.
Sounds like a
Yeah,
plan, you know.
Show you the collab I'm doing with one of my friends. Bear with me. She makes dolls. So I'm doing art of her dolls.
Oh
And
my goodness, that's so cute.
dolls of my art.
Well, you could have the sketch cards of the characters of rocks, and you can have like, you know, 3D versions of
Got ideas already.
Why are we still talking about this?
Because we're kind of like planning. Maybe it might be something the three of
They've all
us
got
three
different
ladies
personalities
do
as well.
together.
Oh,
Elaine knows all about the rocks and the different things that they mean and this and that. And yeah, I think you could
all
design.
those gems, they all have historical meanings and mythological uses and stuff like that. It could be a whole thing.
That's very true too. And then I actually have tons of tiny like faceted stones, and maybe we could even like glue a stone on each card, like a real gemstone.
That would be awesome.
Oh,
this is getting out of hand.
No, it is not getting out of hand. It's good.
This sounds like something that could actually work.
I think so too. And
Stop.
Tony totally disapproves of it.
Stop.
not our fault. We're full of ideas. We can't help it.
Okay, well,
Speaking
this
of
will be
that-
the episode where a whole new concept of sketch cards has been created.
Well, many
Well, I'm
years
retiring.
many years ago, before Upper Deck did those cards with the diamonds in them, because they're the cards they have for like Marvel Gems with the diamonds embedded in them, they're actually fabricated diamonds. So many years ago, I had sent Sonny Alcorn Hender some real faceted rubies and opals and other gemstones, and I said, "You always gluing crystals on your cards. Glue these real gemstones on your card and on an AP or something like that, and put it up for sale. You would have real gemstones on your card."
I vaguely remember that. I don't remember how it went, but I do remember her posting the images of that. And, I mean, it was just stunning.
Can you imagine like a thick cardstock like Masterworks with a little square cut out with your gemstone in and then your artwork?
Oh yeah.
It's a great idea. Go ahead, Tony.
Boo!
The famous Tony Perna boo.
Well,
It makes me chuckle.
well, you've got a whole bunch of new ideas now.
I know, right? I was like, wait a minute. First, I didn't have any. Now, us ladies should get together more often.
So what do you think? So, continuing on that particular vein, what do you think the future of sketch cards could be besides gemstones? Do you think there is a future?
I think there is a future. There's always something new that a company, comes out with to keep, the sketch card industry really fresh. Like Achilles Kokonakis, he has those wooden sketch cards.
They are amazing.
They're really, really good looking. I have a couple. I've never painted on any of them yet, but I do have a couple in my collection that either I bought from a friend or a friend sent me as a gift, or I pulled from a pack myself because I used to buy Achilles set, but I missed out on his last pre-sale. I forgot what day it was on sale, and I totally missed out.
As well, don't they? They're gone straight away as well.
Yeah, they're doing really well. Their sets are beautiful as well. I told Tony, I was like, I think we had some serious competition.
It was the first time I had ever seen engraved wood. And then not only had I, I had painted on wood before. Topps did have some wooden cards at one point. So it was similar to that. But then he also has the box toppers that are really big.
Yeah,
They
those
really
are
big.
beautiful.
And the engraving on that, I don't know how they do it, but it's like
I have no idea where they get those made too. I'm like kind of like a little jealous. Like, these are amazing.
No, they really are nice. It takes a bit of practice for me, I'm only speaking personally. I don't know what it's like for others, but for me personally, I do find it a bit of a challenge to adapt a little bit to the wood because the wood is really thirsty. Even though there is gesso on it, you kind of have to put a little extra on it.
Yeah.
But once you get used to it, it's fabulous. It's like actually painting on real painting stuff, you know. It's very cool.
I have such a hard time with them. I'm not a painter at all, and because I'm trying to do it like as fast as I'll do, you know, markers and pencil crayon, and then I get frustrated, and then I mess it up, and then I paint over it, and then I do it again. I'm just not having a good time with paint at all. If I'm gonna do paint, I need lots of time to sit and, you know, there's no rushing with me and paint or getting a good result if I do it anything other than really slow.
I wish I knew how to paint. I can only use markers and color pencils. I've never,
But
I
that is
tried a
real
few
skill
times even with
also.
watercolor, but to me, I thought it came out looking really bad. So I kind of gave up, you know. I mean, I know if I would have practiced, maybe I would have gotten better, but you know,
I still have a card you did of for me of Stewie.
Oh yeah.
I still have
love
that. It's
Family
on
Guy.
my wall. It's one of our favorite characters from Family
Family
Guy.
Guy.
You do gorgeous work. You do beautiful work.
Yeah, those were so fun to do. But then that's before I started doing card sets. So while Tony was doing card sets, I was just doing fun little commissions on the side. But then once I started doing card sets and the Perna Studios card sets, I did not have time anymore for fun projects.
No.
Do you find it more complicated to work as an artist on a set or to actually be part of a company and run the company? I mean, it sounds like a silly question, but really, which do you find more complicated?
I think more complicated is running the company, because usually when you're working on a card set, they already give you a theme. If you're working on like a comic book card set, there's already established looks of characters. You don't have to come up with, you know, what a character looks like, you know, so those are pretty much easier for me. But running a company is much tougher. There's always things that happen that you don't expect, whether it being extra costs of products being a bit higher than you wanted, or not getting the artist that you really want because you want a certain look for something. Because, you know, sometimes we love to hire Sunny because she has this gorgeous kind of classical painted looks and stuff that you would just kind of see in like museums. So we like would love to try to get her for certain sets, like fairy tales. Her art was just, her style is amazing for fairy tales. But then like say there's a Halloween set, now we want somebody that can do something more a little bit scary and creepy, so we'll go with like Chris Meeks or someone that's known for it. If you are producing a card set and it's based on more cute characters, you would love somebody like Lindsey Greyling or Katie Cook, or it depends on what kind of theme you have, as what kind of type artist that you envision doing art for a specific card or a theme. And so it gets really difficult producing the card sets because you're always in constant thought of what to do, how you want to do something, how you want to go about doing it. And then unfortunately, if you don't get the artist that you want on a set, then you're like kind of like freaking out a little bit, like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? So it's a bit more nerve-wracking producing a card company. Right now, our big problem for this set is the plastic hinge card boxes. They are made in China and they have been back ordered for the last 6 months. We can't find anyone here in Canada selling them. And thank God we had collectors and card dealers from the US that helped us. They helped us find cases and they helped ship them up for us. If it wasn't for them, we would not have had card cases to put, you know, the sketch cards or anything in. And we don't want to put them in paper boxes because they can get dinged in shipping. And we don't want somebody saying, I have a damaged sketch card because my box got crushed in on the side from, you know, it being handled roughly by a postal worker, you know, so
these are all the little details that people who are not maybe part of the job itself wouldn't think of.
When
Just the little things like a box of what to put your cards in. They can be really, like you said, it can be really, really difficult to find.
so
Just
you,
in your materials. Go ahead.
so you have your plastic box. Do you also manufacture, say, like a box that goes in, like with your logo and all that? Is it all?
We had looked into that because a lot of people were like, oh, why don't you guys do card boxes where you can have the foil packs and have them inside of a card box? But the price of printing those, I mean, basically we would have to up the price of a box by $10 or $20, just because if somebody wants foil packs, then you have to put in duplicate base cards. So you're, instead of having a 20 base card set, and but somebody wants packs and they want a box, and you get like 5 card versus 20 packs, that's like 100 cards extra going in. So it's going to be a ton of duplicate base cards, a ton of, you may have to print more base cards. So instead of having a 20 base card set, you might have to do a 40 base card set. Then you got to pay to get 20 more pieces of art commissioned but from artists. You have to pay to have them printed. You have to pay to get the foil packs as the fancy boxes. Next thing you know, instead of having a $35 product, we have a $55, $60 product. And a lot of collectors that don't have a lot of extra spending money are not going to like that price increase. So, and dealers aren't going to like it because they're not going to be able to make as much extra money as they did when it was a $35 set. So
They seem happy enough without it anyway, don't they? I mean, it's not like you sat there with ones left over to sell. They're all gone in the first minute. So if it's not broke, why fix it?
Exactly. Just to print a whole bunch of extra base cards and have a fancy box sometimes isn't worth the price that you would have to pay extra for, and you would have to pass off to the consumer. So basically you're saying, okay, I'm sorry, our products aren't $35 anymore, it's $60. I'm like, what? You know, so
Did you ever imagine when I'm sorry, did you ever imagine when you started the company that it would become as successful as it is? I mean, you must have been a little bit worried, you know, it's a risk, but you've ended up really establishing a firm position in the industry.
It was a huge risk, and I had convinced Tony to spend all his money from his artist proofs to produce the first card set. And we weren't sure. I mean, we thought maybe it was something that we would just do a set every couple of years, you know, maybe something fun. But as we started getting more and more people asking about it, saying, oh, I didn't know you had a mythology set. You know, this is like months later, I would have bought 10 sets. And then we're thinking, okay, maybe we'll do 1 card set a year. And instead of doing 1 every couple of years. And then it just started from there. And then the demand started getting higher. People were like, well, we want more themes. Why don't you do 2 sets a year? And so then we started doing 2 sets a year. And I
love how it's progressed naturally.
And this year, 3 sets this year. So this is the big, this is a big goal for me, because usually when I do the card sets, I get very stressed out the last couple of months between putting them together, worrying about, it'll be like the day before the deadline for sketch cards and I haven't heard from some artists, and I'm like, okay. So I start getting so nervous. Then I have to start sorting through all the cards that come in and putting together stuff. And I get really stressed out for like 2 months during each card set, that I don't think I could handle more than 2 or 3 a year.
So if you, when it comes to a lot of the problem, or some of the problem seems to be that you have difficulty finding artists that would fit into the themes of your sets. So if artists wanted to contact you and send you samples, what would you suggest that they do? And what would you suggest that they don't do?
Well, what we would love to see is if somebody sends us in some kind of samples based on fantasy art, because most of our card sets are based on fantasy, or, you know, mythology, magic, or Halloween and stuff like that. So we would love to see what they would do with one of those type of themes. What we don't like is when somebody says, well, I've worked on, you know, this card, I've worked on this card set or this card set. But then when they show you samples, it's something completely unrelated to what you do. So you're not sure if their art style will be good on your theme. Or they'll send you drawings of larger pieces of art they've done. And it's like, well, that's great. That's an 8x10 or 11x17. But what can you do on a small card? Because somebody that draws big might have a very hard time transitioning to small. So they might just be doing headshots. And it's like, well, you know, sometimes headshots can be nice if they're done really, really, you know, well, beautiful headshots. But then sometimes you might just get an artist that, you know, hate to say it, but they might do like a 5-minute drawing of a headshot, like a quick outline of a head, very lightly colored, and we or like a silhouette or something, and that's not something that we want. So we want to see what they can do on an actual 2.5 by 3.5 inches, you know, sketch card, and not larger pieces of art.
Okay.
I remember what I did for to try and get on a base card for Perna Studios, because I was adamant I wanted to be on one of them. So I spent a couple of days drawing, and then I sent you a 5x7, didn't I? So this is what I can do 5x7, and she's like, yeah, I'll send you an invite.
I was like, yeah.
But
yeah.
that you're willing and ready to work, and that you're enthusiastic about it, don't you?
I do. I love seeing new art, and especially when it's artists that I'm a fan of. Like, I'm a fan of Lindsey's art. You know, I always try to get a commission from her. I'm a fan of Ingrid's art. There's so many people I collect. I love Andre Toma, Amy Clark. So when they're sending me images, and it's new images and it's for our sets, I'm like, oh, that's gorgeous. I wish I could keep that. And the hardest part for me is having 1,000 sketch cards in hand, and I want to keep like 200 of them. But I can't. I have to insert them all, because if I don't insert them all, then it's not good for a business. Businesses shouldn't really be keeping product. If, you know, if I want something so bad, I will commission it from that artist. I'm like, well, I loved how you drew this sketch card. Can I please commission an artist proof that of something similar?
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to keep everything.
As a creator, as two creators, I would imagine it's pretty much full time for the two of you being creatives now. Do you think you could ever go back to, like, quote unquote, a normal job now, or has working in the creative industry kind of spoiled you for that?
We're kind of spoiled a little bit. Tony just said hell no. So, he used to work at like Walmart as a stock person. He's like, nope, this is what I want to do. And it's what he went to college for. He went to college for 3 years for art. He went to Sheridan Art College, and they teach you everything from drawing fonts to drawing realism, everything. I mean, there's a project for everything. I'm like, drawing fonts? They're like, yeah, I have to draw these fonts exact as, you know, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm kind of glad I didn't go through all that, because I probably would fail half of it. But
you still draw and paint and all the draw and sketch and all that stuff. And what you do as a company is still creative. So even for you, Elaine, do you think you would have it difficult to go to, again, a quote unquote regular job?
I would, but also for the first 5 years running Perna Studios, I worked at a post office. So I worked a day job. I had to come home, and it's an Italian household, so I had to clean and take care of everything. This is the messiest room, but every other room is very clean.
Hey.
And then I have to run the business, so I have to hire artists, contact artists, and then I also had to draw as well. So basically, it's like 4 jobs. And after a few years, I got so run down. I was like, I can't do 4 jobs anymore. It's really difficult. So unfortunately, I had to leave the post office because it was just too much work. I mean, running a business and then doing commissions and then being a wife in an Italian household is enough. It keeps me very busy.
Do you like being part of a business?
Oh yes, I love it. I love it. I could not see not working in the trading card industry anymore. I mean, if we wind up getting a little burnt out or something, maybe we just might go down to doing one card set a year. But I could never see completely leaving it. We love it. Tony loves working on the Marvel sets. He's been a Marvel collector for years. He loves the X-Men. I mean, he has a few thousand comic books. So he just loves working on these sets. I mean, half the time he doesn't even look at reference of what a character looks like anymore because he knows what their costumes look like. So if you ask him to draw Wolverine, he does not have to look at what a picture of Wolverine looks like because he knows exactly what his costume looks like. So yeah, he loves doing it, and I love doing the fantasy stuff too because I love mythology, and I love Halloween. It's my favorite holiday. I don't think I'll ever stop doing Halloween. So, I mean, I think people will get sick after our 12th Halloween set, but you know.
Oh, I don't think so. It seems to be pretty popular.
I love Halloween. I don't think I could give that up. So.
Do you see your company evolving differently in the future? Like maybe not expanding, but maybe including something different that's creative in it? Or I don't really know what I'm asking, but do you see yourselves evolving?
I think that we will wind up evolving eventually. That's kind of what we're hoping with this collaboration we're doing with another artist. We're hoping that it kind of like evolves. This other artist, the theme for his set, I believe that he wants to put together a game or something with these characters. So that actually will probably evolve into something like that for him as well. But for us, I mean, I think that we're going to try to mix comics with sketch cards in the future, especially when Tony does his Project M. So, because when we do the Kickstarter, we're going to have chances of getting sketch cards. So, if somebody orders the comic for $20, that's a regular tier. If they order a comic, like a $30 tier, it might come with a metal card. You'll have your tiers like $50, and you'll have like the $100 tier, which comes with like a sketch card by Tony Perna, or you may wind up hiring some artists, like just a few, just for tiers like that. This way, somebody gets something more. So we're hoping to kind of mix comics with cards in the future. So I don't know what else what else that we're going to be doing, but I'm sure we'll come up with ideas as time goes by. But
some rocks, isn't there?
I know. I really like that idea of a cute character rock set. I'm going to have to get together with you ladies again and talk about this.
I'm going to have to sketch out some really cute little rock characters. They'd just be adorable, I think.
We just got scans of Mike Hardigan's cards for our Elementals 2 card set, and he did the cutest little rock characters. And I told him, I was like, they're my favorite ones. I love them. I might have to try to find that back in the aftermarket or commission an AP. But I could absolutely see a card set like that if
There's so many people who are like you that collect rocks and precious gems as well.
And it could be a super limited card set, maybe just 250 just to test the waters.
That's too much.
And I've got a friend who do 3D models, so he can make 3D models of the little characters and stuff.
Oh my goodness! I can
do. If it's simple enough, it's just really quick to 3D model,
Oh, that would be awesome. Tony,
why do you hate me?
Can you imagine some Project M character action figures?
That, yes, not rocks.
Well, we'll slowly wind this down. Elaine, is there anything you'd like to say to anybody who's maybe thinking of getting into the creative industry on their own? Do you have any advice, or is there anything you'd like to say in general that we haven't touched?
Anything that you wish you knew?
Yeah.
I would just tell people that want to get into this industry, submit samples to as many companies as possible, especially if you know a company's doing a theme that you love. Send them samples, don't be afraid. don't be offended by rejection, because there's been artists that we have rejected the first time they sent us samples, and then the year after sent us new samples, and their style was so different and it was awesome, and so we hired them. So you might get rejected the first time, but keep with it, because you'll definitely get in. I mean, there's so many card companies now, and there's so many new opportunities to work for people and manufacturers that I would tell them, don't give up, just keep doing it, and yeah, you'll get in, you'll get there.
Lindsey, do you have any questions?
No, I think that's everything. I think we've covered everything pretty well. My curiosity is satisfied for now.
We'll have more. We'd love to have you back, Elaine, and see how it's going with all of that. Can you tell us where people can find you and your company? Well, you, when I say you and Tony and the company.
We have a DeviantArt website. So deviantart.com/Perna Studios. We're on Facebook as well. We have a Facebook like page and a Facebook group. So people can just go to Facebook and search Perna Studios. You'll find us. They can contact us by email at pernastudios@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram. We're everywhere.
Okay, that's great. This has been amazing. It has been super fun, and I can't wait to see the rock set that you guys are going to put out.
Oh, Ingrid, I may be contacting you about it.
I think Lindsey is the genius behind that one.
I'm going to need some base card art and stuff. So,
I'm here.
And Ingrid could paint them in that wonderful way that she paints.
She could do her wonderful, like her scenic backgrounds, and you have these little rock characters in the background.
Amazing.
I would love to do moody rocks or killer rocks, stuff like that. That I would. Well, I'd like to thank you, Elaine. I'd like to thank you so very much for sharing your time and all your knowledge, and Tony as well for all his boo comments.
Oh.
Oh, it's been so much fun, Elaine. Thank you. It's been lovely to meet you finally.
It was great talking to you, and like I said, we should get together more often.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely on board with
let the crazy ideas just run around.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Thank you again.
Bye, Elaine.
Enjoy
Bye-bye.
collecting.